One of the best ways of taking break from work is going for a long drive. Who does not like long drives? But whenever I go for long drives, the one thing that comes into my mind immediately is some of the concerns that most of the students face whenever there is a question asked about two cars moving in opposite direction or moving in the same direction. When should we add the speeds of the two cars and when should we subtract the speeds of the two cars? So this is something which we will try to clarify in this video by going through a problem statement. And yeah, long drive, definitely whenever anybody gets a chance, you should definitely go for it. Yep. Okay. But here, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about a problem where there is a highway and there are two endpoints of this highway, point A and point B, which is 70 kilometers apart. A car starts from point A and another car starts from point B simultaneously. If they travel in the same direction, they meet in 7 hours. But if they travel towards each other, which means opposite direction, they meet in 1 hour. Find how fast the two cars are. All right, so what are the things that are given to us in this question? One is the distance between the two cars and the 2 points A and B. And one other thing is if they travel in the same direction, it'll take 7 hours. But if they travel in opposite direction or if they travel towards each other from the 2 points in the highway A and B, then they'll be meeting in 1 hour. All right. So let's say we have this distance A to B, which is 70 kilometers. The first scene that we have is when the two cars are traveling in opposite direction. When they're traveling in opposite direction, it takes 1 hour for them to meet. So if this car 1 is traveling at the speed of u1 from point A and the car 2 is traveling at the speed of u2 from point B, they are traveling towards each other, which means they are traveling in the opposite direction. Now, when they're traveling in the opposite direction, one thing that we need to take note of is both the cars do not have to travel the entire 70 kilometers, but both the cars together have to travel a total distance of 70 kilometers. So, if the car 1 drives, say, 40 kilometers, then car 2 has to drive 30 kilometers. Only then they'll be meeting at a point somewhere in between. So, overall, the total distance that both the cars would have traveled when they meet would be the distance between the two when they got started, which is 70 kilometers. All right, so we'll be using the same formula, time equal to distance by speed. In the scene one, we know the time is equal to 1 hour for them to meet each other. So if the time is 1 hour, distance is 70 kilometers and divided by speed. Speed is u1 plus u2. Now, why u1 plus u2? Well, there are only two things possible, either u1 plus u2 or u1 minus u2. Time is equal to distance by speed. And if they are traveling in the same or in the when they're traveling in the opposite direction, the time that it will take for them to meet each other would be much less compared to the time that it will take for them to meet if they were traveling in the same direction. We'll come to that in just a bit. So we need to have the denominator on the higher side. Only then we can have less time. Only if the denominator is high, we can have the time as a lower value. If the denominator is low, then we'll have the overall value as high. This would be a little more clear once we talk about the second C. But once we simplify this, it will be 70 equals u1 plus u2, which is the equation number 1. Now, the second scenario where the cars are moving in the same direction. So once again, you have the first car 1, the car 1 traveling at the speed of u1 from point A, but the car 2 is traveling from B in the same direction. So it is not coming in this direction, it is going in that same direction as car 1. So this picture itself gives us very clear indication that this car 1 itself has to travel at least 70 kilometers to reach the car 2. But by the time the car 1 reaches or travels 70 kilometers, even the car 2 would have already traveled quite some kilometers over here. So the car 1, in a way, if you look at it, so the car 1 definitely has to travel faster than car 2. Only then this car can overtake or reach car 2. They will be able to meet each other. All right. So now with this, if we look at the scene 2, the time taken is 7 hours, and in 7 hours the distance traveled, the overall distance that we have, which is 70 kilometers, divided by u1 minus u2. So what that means, in 7 hours they happen to meet each other. So the net velocity or net speed would be u1 minus u2. So the lesser the denominator, the greater the overall value. So here the numerator is the same in both the cases, but because the denominator is on the higher side here, u1 plus u2, we have a lower overall value, and here the denominator is a lower value here. That's why we have a higher overall value. So once we simplify this, 7 tens are 70, and this now gets reduced to 10 equals u1 minus u2, and this is our second equation. All right, now if we have to add both of these equations, equation 1 and equation 2, we do see that u2 minus u2, so these two will get cancelled. Therefore we'll have 70 plus 10, which is 80, equal to 2 times u1. So u1 is equal to 40 kilometers per hour. The speed of the first car is 40 kilometers per hour. One thing is very clear, if this car has to overtake the second car, the speed of the second car has to be less than 40. Anyways, we'll try to derive that as well. Now from this equation itself, 10 equal to u1 minus u2, if we just substitute the value of u1 as 40, we would be getting 40 minus u2. Therefore u2 is equal to 40 minus 10, which is 30. So the speed of the second car is 30 kilometers per hour. So this is how we try to derive the speed of two cars once we have two scenarios given to us, when they are traveling in the same direction, and the other one is when they are traveling in the opposite direction. So I hope your understanding of when to put a subtraction between the two speeds of the cars and when to put an addition between the two speeds of the car is clear. So ideally, when they are traveling in the opposite direction, we add. When they are moving in the same direction, we subtract. All right, I hope you found this tutorial useful. Please do subscribe and like my channel so that as and when I upload new videos, you get to know immediately. You get an immediate update of it. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, feedback, please do post them in the comment section. Let's catch up in the next tutorial. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.